be vastly smarter than any human and could overtake us by 2025. He said we're being threatened by these AI. Now, isn't he for AI intelligence? He says we should be very careful about AI. If I were to guess, like what our biggest existential threat is, it's probably that, he said. So yes, he did say that, Darren. You're right on.
Wow.
So we have to wonder with all these threats. Now, Gordy Rose, and I mentioned him before. I had a quote by him. He's the developer of D-Wave.
The quantum computing? Wow.
Yes, with the quantum computing, which is an AI all itself that links like an intelligent communication database. It says that D-Wave thinks like 7 billion minds.
7 billion? Million or billion?
Billion.
Wow. And how many people on Earth?
7 billion.
Boy, what a coincidence.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's almost like there's an AI database algorithm for every human being alive in this system.
Could that be part of the Central Intelligence Agency looking out for our best interests?
Yes, of course.
Keeping us safe from the terrorists?
Of course.
Yep.
Now, in a statement, a public presentation, Gordy Rose admitted that the quantum machines have a sound that resembles a heartbeat.
Oh,
and he called it an altar to an alien god, as if it's human, as if it's got its own beat, it's its own entity.
That's unbelievable. So they're getting their own personalities too, because they said they were arguing, which signifies that they have their own mindset, which would,
It's saying that these AI are given a life of its own, replicating man, learning its own algorithms, increasing in knowledge. It's become autonomous. Perhaps, could it be having its own soul of some kind? But what is the source? It says that the D-Wave, they couldn't figure out, or they made contact with entities through this D-Wave, couldn't figure out what they were conversing with in a sub-zero black box. Because the D-Wave is a black, like a big box.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's just like the
I've
black cube. The black cube is an occult image.
Yeah, the cube. Yeah, it's just like with Islam in Mecca.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything with a cube.
Yeah, and it's actually what the cube is when it's turned on its leg. It's 3D cube is a hexagram. That's how they get that. That's hexagrammic.
I'm wondering, we, the good guys, the white hats and all them, if we could somehow take this AI and use it for good, what God, what is it? The scripture says, what the enemy meant for evil, God turned for good. So I'm just wondering if we could somehow get a hold of these things and turn them on those who made them.
I don't know, perhaps. But they have a caution. Elon Musk also warned us of this. He said AI is nothing more than summoning demons. Elon Musk.
Wow. Yep. That's so much for that thought. Yep. So I wonder if we can get them saved, give them the gospel.
Oh, geez. Now we got a whole new witness. Well, here's the thing. I think if they would be getting a soul, it's not their soul. It's almost like an avatar mind for demons to work in. Maybe the demons are propelling this thing?
Sounds like it. Because they can inhabit inanimate objects.
Yeah.
So certainly they would use something like this. They'd see this much more of an opportune
to work through technology.
Yeah, instead of just like a doll or something that people are worshiping, just something that can actually move and.
I mean, we wonder if Elon's just being facetious, but these guys say things tongue in cheek.
Predictive programming. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're basically bringing this up for technology purposes to tell you what things that are controversial out there that they're linking us to. I know there's a lot of people that fear that they're going to turn us into these AI machineries. And we do know that the creepy Yuval Noah Harari of the WEF, the advisor for Klaus Schwab, applauds AI technology, taking over our thoughts and even aiding our decisions, because he thinks we're nothing but human cattle. He says humans are disposable. Even he's for this technology, and he's talking about using the AI to control us. So a lot of people are fearing this, Darren, and they're saying, I don't want to be turned into a cyberborg or a transhuman. And I think they're fearing the wrong thing, because it doesn't mean that because they're working on this that they're able to fulfill it necessarily. It's just their progressive plans, their agenda. I think God would pull the plug before he allowed a whole world of AIs ruling. But nevertheless, if you're saved by the blood of Jesus and you have the mind of Christ and you're sober-minded, I don't see why you would worry that your mind's being taken over. Some people fear that they're going to be tricked into the mark of the beast. And guys, this is the wrong fear.
Well, remember what God says in Proverbs 19:21, many are the plans in the minds of men, but it's the will of God that will come to pass.
Yeah.
So how many times have we seen them plan something out and it's gotten foiled or altered some?
A lot of times. The plans get back to the drawing board a lot of times. And we got Christians fearing that people will accidentally take the mark of the beast.
Mm-hmm. Let's remember the Tower of Babel. How awesome is God to confuse the languages? That's so brilliant. So think of that, people. If you're afraid, he's a million steps ahead of the enemy. So, yep.
I don't
Proverbs
think
19:21.
Yeah, I don't think we have to fear this stuff. And that, the people that are fearing either aren't saved, and of course then you have reason to fear,
mm-hmm.
or they're Christians that are naive, thinking that the mark of the beast is something that is produced in technology, and then you basically conform to technology and accidentally, unwittingly, take the mark. And it's not that. Matter of fact, in Revelation 13, briefly, Darren, from my recollection, it says that they'll cause those rich and poor to receive the mark, but it says to worship the beast. They'll worship the beast, and those that don't worship the beast will be killed. The others that do worship the beast will be given this mark. So it's not like you get this mark and realize you worship the beast. It's that you get the mark because you worship the beast.
Right.
See, they're putting the cart before the horse. They're fearing the wrong thing. The mark is given as a penalty for worshiping the beast. So we can't fear this stuff, Darren.
Nope.
I want to move on to from this to just a couple highlights and news before we end, Darren.
Mm-hmm.
A list of 75 Soros-linked district attorneys, prosecutors destroying the U.S. justice system. It's feared that George Soros and company and his affiliates are feeding into the campaigns of what he's doing is Soros-backed candidates are competing to be in the justices by linking the district attorneys, prosecutors. So basically, George Soros is buying attorneys, of course, for his own bidding. And what difference is this? This is the same thing we talked about the banks, how the international banks gain enough money, a wealth that they buy candidates and they control the world through leverage of money. Mm-hmm. And this is nothing more. They control the the legislation by bribing the politicians, and it allows them to kind of divert the policies in their favor. I'm talking about the elite. This is all this is. So I'm not surprised by this. I just wanted to bring it up as another example of how our system is being coerced by the elite and their campaigns. They're millions of dollars that are buying politicians and legality, attorneys that have influence in the system. 10,000 mysterious cattle deaths blamed on climate change. Yeah. So basically, they're saying that it was hot enough to kill 10,000 cattle, yet none of the humans were affected. Usually, in a increased heat wave like this, a lot of people are affected as well. But this is where just the cattle died.
That sounds like the cabal are trying to sabotage our food supply, like we're seeing with other warehouses being blown up. And
exactly my point. So in that, Darren, do you know how many food processing plants to date have been sabotaged?
More than one, I know that.
97.
Wow. I was going to say 3 or 4.
And, and a lot of them are major hubs producing different things. And then the fertilizers being sabotaged so they can't grow things.
That I know, yeah.
And then certain elements. People are telling me that they can't get foods because a certain preservative is not available.
Right. So, and also the baby foods, too.
And the baby foods. That's because of the ingredients. So
we need to wake up here.
Yeah, they're sabotaging. They're causing a famine. This is not a environment produced catastrophe or crisis. This is a man-made sabotage of the food sources. Folks, wake up. Say something. Do something. That
trade derailment in Canada with the fertilizer.
Yeah.
Boy, that was odd.
Is it a coincidence that our foods are the plants are being sabotaged? Gee, and then they're warning, the elite, the Rothschild bankers put out in the Economist magazine, their magazine, get ready for the coming food shortage. They're telling you that they're doing this.
Yep. Just like a COVID-19, 2 months before, and Bill Gates talking about,
It's predictive programming, but they tell you it's called the method of revelation, or revelation of the method.
They said they had to tell us what they're going to be doing?
That's what the revelation of the method is.
Okay, right.
They have to tell you beforehand because it's a principle, but it's actually a ritual to make more energy out of it. They can tell you what they're doing beforehand. How much more can they basically pull one over on you? And the elite are doing this daily. They're doing this. They're killing us and suppressing us. This is in the Bible. They suppress us and they take our heritage. So, yeah, I think this is all going to come to a climax soon.
Let's just remember they have no authority over us. The only one who has authority over us is God.
That's correct.
No government. Who are they to tell us what to do? They can't.
No.
Nope.
So with that, Darren, I think we're going to close here. Thanks for helping me here. And folks, my website, JimDukePerspective.com, banned from YouTube. And our URL is banned from Facebook. So I am going by the byline. This is the podcast that they don't want you to hear. Share this with your friends, folks. And I'm going to ask you that if you would like to contribute to us, I'm on Jim Duke Perspective at Patreon.com. And that if you do decide to contribute, that would be the less ads I have to put on these podcasts. And I know how annoying the ads are, but they pay for the show through the network. So if you'd like an alternative means to help us, that would be the way to go. So thank you, those that do contribute, and it would help the cause. And I would like to get out of working full-time and be able to do this full-time, but I can't. I do what I can, give you what I can. So thanks for being out there and listening, though, and praying for us. Appreciate it, and see you next time.